because it'll just sell the culture of liberty. I've run into all these talk show hosts over the years who would literally bend over backwards to try to make stuff up about me, incredible confabulations, lies, thinking that if they got Alex Jones off the radio, that would somehow my audience would go over to them. What morons. Alex Jones makes the liberty movement bigger for everybody. Ron Paul makes the liberty movement bigger for everybody. Bob Chapman makes it bigger, on and on and on. You make the pie bigger. That's a win-win-win freedom wavelength, not the tyranny. It's a limited pie. Let's cannibalize ourselves system. So, see, I'll give you my ideas here because I don't care. I care about the information. And you can implement this. And whoever implements it the best will do the best. In fact, you could probably get 20 million viewers a week doing this if you did it right. I guarantee you I could have 10 million viewers a week, which is a big TV show by any stretch of imagination, on YouTube platform alone within 1 year of implementing this, okay? Ready to hear the idea? Companies, by the way, major networks have asked me to consult for them, and I've said no, okay? The system knows I know how to build an audience, okay? And I won't work for the enemy. So I'm going to give you information here that's extremely valuable. This is just one of literally unlimited ideas, okay? You got to get a piece of property, at least preferably 500 yards, in an area where there's no laws against shooting firearms. And you got to shoot cans of Coca-Cola, pumpkins, exploding human targets you call zombies. Folks are doing that. People love long shots, 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards, 3,000 yards. You can get local gun shops because they're a sponsor at first to be on it, and you let you borrow the new firearms every week. You go out and even if you don't have the skills to shoot, you go find somebody that does, local gunsmith or something, and you do that for a year straight, and don't get on power trips and fight with each other and stuff and have a contract. And you put those up on the internet, you will have 1 million views a week if you are terrible. If you name it right and take action, just put basic energy into it. Power in this universe is about doing things over and over again. It's about commitment. Beating a drum. It's about who wants it the most. Who'll go the longest. I have watched for years these shooting videos on the internet. And I mean, some of these things are getting 15 million views a piece. The average about 500,000. And I mean, this is stuff that probably costs these videos $100, $200 to produce each one. And it's unlimited. There are people with very low talent getting millions of views on there. Now, once you've established your audience, you slip the Patriot information into it. Then you start a new political division of the YouTube channel where you sit around and talk about the New World Order and then say, next, here's our video. And now you get those millions of people into the new thing. Now, there you go. Valuable consulting information for you right there. And I could right now launch this. Right now. Right now, I could launch this with celebrities, in the whole redneck kingdom. Endlessly, I could have a TV deal within a year from now and wouldn't even take the TV deal because it wouldn't make as much money as a YouTube channel with sponsorship. You notice my YouTube channel doesn't have sponsors. I've chosen not to. This would be a consumer and would also sell the culture of liberty bonanza. There you go. So there you go. Now, Steve, I can only give you about a minute because Bob Chapman's holding. You said you had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, I've heard you say at least 100 times in the last 2.5 years that Tom Ridge got on C-SPAN and said that the police state was going to be implemented. It was just a matter of time. But is that video out there somewhere? Is it?
No, I've told the story. This was in like 2002. I was recording on VHS at my house. I watched off and on 2 hours of it. It was him with big round tables. You can now search C-SPAN. You look for Tom Ridge, something like Economic Council, or he was meeting with all these CEOs. And he just said, you're going to have an ID to get a job. We're going to have checkpoints on the highways for your safety. Homeland Security will run every facet. And I've been saying that for 9 years since I saw it. Now now they announced they're doing all of it. So it doesn't even really matter if you can't dig up that video. I've been on air for 9 years saying it, and now it's happening. So there's your answer. But somebody can dig it up.
Yeah. Is there also somebody's email there that we can email to maybe ask for links whenever, you just...
I sure wish we did. I appreciate your call, sir. Are you saying you want me to provide you proof of everything I say? I mean, have my crew send you stuff?
No. It's so hard to find links.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate your call, sir. I am busier than a one-legged man in a you-know-what kicking contest. I am trying to get enough money in here to hire and then train the right crews to where I can have 10 reporters, not 2 or 3, and to where I can find people that are skilled to basically intensify what I'm doing. It isn't about making Alex Jones a big kahuna, in media. It's about a system resisting them, teaching others how to resist. And then people say, give us a link. You just asked for a link, 9 years old. C-SPAN just recently in the last year came up with a system where you can search pretty much anything by name. I mean, I don't even know what to say. 95% of what I've covered here today, I've shown you the news article. Now, if you ask me for something 9 years from now, I'm going to have to tell you have to go find it. I mean, you're saying it's so hard to find links. There is every day, there's an eruptive amount of information on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. I mean, at this point, we're not even trying to prove there's a global government anymore. They're announcing it. Let's go to Bob Chapman. Bob, thanks for holding while I tried to answer that guy's question. You're with us for the next 40-plus minutes. What do you make of, and I've got the big stacks here, and I guess I could read them to the fella, where they're announcing banking dictatorship worldwide and just kind of announcing like it's no big deal. Private banks headed up by Goldman Sachs will now rule the planet, and you'll pay your taxes directly to them, and countries can't get out of it, and the euro will control what the countries do now. And it's an open tyranny, Bob. Everything we said has come true, and I guess some of the public will probably ask us for links to it.
Well, they're going to have to go look for themselves because we're too busy to do that. But I think a lot of that is just first-grade propaganda. I don't think they're really in a position to move into that as yet. And that is starkly shown up in the situation that's going on in Europe. I mean, these people don't know what to do. They are really stuck. They put it all together, and it doesn't work.
That's right. They always sold themselves on they'd wreck the system, and then they'd come out on top. But now that they've actually driven the bus off the cliff, things aren't going so well, Bob.
Well, that is the understatement of the week, of the year, whatever. And the point is this. They created a monster. What was it? A unnatural association. All the members in the Eurozone had to have public debt of 3% of GDP or less, and they knew darn right well that half of them couldn't meet that. Then they had one interest rate for everybody, which was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Germany's paying 3.5%. All
right, well, let's talk about that, Bob. Stay there, coming right back to you. Let's talk about what's happening in Europe. Will it melt down? What comes out of that? You predicted this 3 years ago or more. And then we're going to get into MF Global. Now it's $3 billion missing, and they're saying you're not getting your money back. We'll be right back at theinternationalforecaster.com. They got a lot of nice girls down there. All right, we are back live down on the range, LaGrange. Going back to our guest and then your phone calls, Bob Chapman. Bob, I want to get into the euro and what's happening over there. And I mean, I've got the quotes here about global takeover by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs conquers Europe, conquers them. They sold them the fraud and got their agents in every position. And now there's riots over austerity. But I want to get into MF Global. We haven't gotten your take on this. I knew it would be big 2 weeks ago, driving down stock markets worldwide, farmers getting out of commodities, Reuters reporting it's causing a crash there. Why wouldn't they pay back the $1 $3 billion, now it's up to $3 billion? Why wouldn't they pay it back? I mean, they've got to know it's going to destroy confidence. Bob Chapman.
I think maybe part of the intention here was twofold, and there's no way we can prove this at this point. But I thought from the very beginning that the United States government might have been involved in this. And Corzine was probably given a guarantee that, look, you do this for us and we'll cover for you and so on and so forth. Second of all, I think they might have wanted to damage that system. And it's a system that they can't totally control. And I think they would like to control it totally. And the way of doing that is causing problems with the industry.
You're incredible. So for those that don't know, they want to destabilize the entire derivatives commodity market so they can get more regulatory control, which means more insider trading control. So they can game the casino even better. That's why Corzine and the head of the CFTC who's involved in it have been authorized to say we're keeping the money and that's the way it is to destroy confidence.
Exactly. And as far as the CME is concerned, Gerald Salenti has pointed out with former tapes of Terry, whatever his name is, that they were bragging they have $100 billion and they can insure anything. Well, why aren't they insuring it? They're obviously part of this. But I do think it's going to drive a lot of people out of that futures market, and that's a good thing because the least amount of power they have, the better. Of course, in those commodity contracts, you've never had any safety whatsoever because, quite frankly, they were never worth the paper they were written on. And that was because the CME, which owns COMEX, could at any time override anything that was in the rule book. And so you really didn't have any protection. That doesn't exist in general markets.
So is this a test balloon, even though he'd already gotten the money? And it was in his sequestered, segregated account. Is this a test balloon then? Because if you're saying it's good to run speculators out, why would the system want to do this then? I
don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know yet, including will anybody get paid? Would they just come out and said there's $3 billion missing? Yesterday they said that they were going to pay 60% of the money back by the 15th of December. It's one story after another. It's something you have to watch unfold. But
it looks like a rope-a-dope. You're right. I mean, it looks like a rope-a-dope because they said 2 weeks ago they were going to pay it back that week and didn't.
Yeah, that's another thing, which is the extension of time in order. What do we do next? We don't know. And that's the same thing that's going on in Europe as well. And it's because they just don't know. And I can't help but think, Corzine is smart, obviously, because of his background. If nothing else, he is. Why would he make a one-way bet that was an obvious loser? Now, the government could have said, look, we want you to take that money over there and do this. Go long those bonds that are in serious trouble. Yeah, because somebody else gets the money. So it's just a transfer of all the investors' money to the casino. Well, to help stabilize that market in Europe that they weren't capable of doing even through the ECB at that time. And that's what I think the government was originally up to. And then they finally said, well, we're going to do these other things, so we're going to take it down. And don't worry, you'll be well taken care of. And they do those things. 2 years later, everybody forgets. Stay there. I want to see the grand design here with Bob Chapman on the other side of this quick break. And we'll get more into the other facets, the economy, the war that's building up with Syria, what that's going to signify. The Russian signat's a red line, don't cross it. And your phone call straight ahead. Prisonplanet.tv, 7